Hello everyone, welcome to A Slice of My Life. And I came home today to be pleasantly surprised because mail call. I received this package from someone named Michael Sayers, also the man behind Supercharger Innovations, and this is, I believe, what is to be the Sphidget. I actually backed the Sphidget up on Kickstarter, so I decided I'm gonna give it an unboxing, I guess. It's kind of like an unboxing and also an installation. Yes, it is a fidget toy, but you're gonna have to assemble it first. I've already taken a look at the installation instructions online, so I think I'm pretty confident about installing this thing or assembling this thing. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and get into this package and share in the joy of building this thing with you guys. So here we go. Wow! Look at that, guys. So I backed the Sphidget up on Kickstarter because I'm quite a big Kickstarter junkie, and I actually put in some add-ons as well. But Michael was very good with his customer service, and he immediately contacted me when he realized that he only shipped out the Sphidget itself and not the add-ons. So he went ahead and shipped the add-ons out in a separate package, so I should be receiving it in a couple of days time. But let's check it out. This is the main Sphidget itself. I ordered one with the raw colored faceplates, not the black anodized ones. So here we go, first package out. It's got all the hardware, I guess. This is the hardware pack. It's got a little 3D printed piece as well. This piece is the alignment tool. I just wanted you guys to make sure that you're not getting 3D printed buttons. This is the alignment tool, which is actually a nice inclusion, you know, to the set of tools that you need. Then we have two aluminum faceplates. They look absolutely awesome. 5 steel balls. Now the add-on that I ordered was the assortment of different balls, so I'm gonna have some in wood, some in transparent acrylic, and I don't even remember what else, but these are really heavy. These are mad heavy. Like, okay, cool. So I think this is gonna be a very hefty spinner, and then that's about it. Oh, that's very nice. On closer inspection, you actually see that he includes a hex key or Allen key, you know, the tool with it as well. And it also includes a bearing. First off, customization wise, when you line these two guys up, you'll notice that they have a little angle to the sides, right? So you can actually choose to have it sandwiching this way around your weights, or flip it around and have the V shape instead. So now it's inverse, as you guys can see, right? So you see the inverse over here. So it's the first step of customization. Which would you guys prefer? This way, or this way, or one or the other? So that to me was really cool, and I think I will go ahead and use the V shape. I am going to talk a little bit more in detail about the little tools that you actually get, or the little parts that you get in this package. So what I want to highlight in particular is not this, but the buttons. First of all, you actually get one set of raw colored aluminum buttons, as well as one set of black anodized buttons as well. So this, you get a choice. Next thing I want to highlight is the spacers as well. You get one set of spacers in raw aluminum and one set of spacers in anodized black. So what you're supposed to do with the spacers is you're going to have 5 on the inner ring and 5 on the outer ring, as you can see. So what that means basically is you can choose to have it in this orientation, where you have black spacers on the outside and the raw spacer on the inside, or swap it around. For me, I think I'm going to go for the fully raw look, so I'm gonna pick out the raw buttons as well as the raw spaces on the outside. So let's get down to building this thing, okay? So here's what's included. You have your 2 button sets, then you have this threaded rod for the buttons as well. You have the alignment tool, a shim for the bearing, 5 black spacers, 5 raw aluminum spacers, all the screws that you need, the hex key tool, and last but not least, you have the bearing. And by taking a closer look, you'll see that it is a 626 RS bearing. 626, guys. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to remove the shields of the bearing. Oh no, guys, look at all that lube in it. I'm going to have to clean this up, but for the sake of this installation, I will leave the lubricant there. I won't clean the bearing yet. Let me just do this installation, and then in the future, after that, I will clean the lubricant out. But at least you know this is what you get out of the package, guys. Nicely lubricated, so you know it's actually pretty damn protected. For long spin times or longer spin times, you guys already know you have to clean this out. Well, I removed the shields. So we're gonna start with the frames itself. First thing you want to do, as I mentioned before, is to decide on the orientation of the frame that you want. And for me, I'm gonna go for the V orientation. So I'm gonna put the top half aside. I'm gonna start working on the bottom half. So what you wanna do is you wanna install the spacers first of all. So we'll start with the inner rings and then the outer rings. And we're gonna just use our hands, hand tighten it without the tool first. That's the instruction given, so we'll follow it. Now when it's done, it should look something like this. So as I mentioned, wow, this part looks so awesome. But anyway, as I mentioned, I'm gonna use the raw aluminium spacers on the outside. And at this point, I want to interrupt and say that these spacers are not aluminium. My fault, guys, my bad. On closer inspection, I believe that they are made of Delrin, but it's not a metal, it is a plastic. And I think that's cool because, you know, less scratching and less scuffing. So there you go. I've decided on this configuration, raw on the outside, black on the inside. Next, we'll just get the shim, and we will put the shim in the middle like this. And press it down and it should sit in place quite snugly. If you notice, it won't drop out. Cool. Next up, we are gonna get our 5 weights, and in this case, mine is the 5 steel balls. It could be wood, it could be acrylic, whatever you have chosen for your Sphidget, and we're gonna sit them in the respective slots. And I must say, it looks pretty darn awesome right now. So next up, you're gonna get your bearing and put it on top of the shim in the middle, and it should sit perfectly like this. Next step, get your top plate in the orientation that you want and line it up on top like this. This is so awesome, guys. Alright, now comes the next tricky part, which is to install the screws into these slots. Now take note, the instructions tell you to hand tighten all these first, but always try your best to go from the inner ring first and then the outer ring. So you're still going to use your hand to just tighten these screws down before you actually go ahead with this tool.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm having difficulty using my hands to tighten the screws, so I'm going to use this tool and very lightly just turn it into place for now. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the slots. There we go. All the screws are in, and right now, because they're not tight, the steel weights actually have some kind of play in them, and it actually feels quite cool. And we also realized that there are 2 extra screws, which is a nice thing to actually include, 2 extra in case you lose any, so that's a very nice touch. Next, we're going to make use of the alignment tool, and you want to just pop the alignment tool in one end just to make sure that it aligns nicely. Ah, that's nice. So the alignment tool actually slots into this ring over here, and it also holds the bearing in the center, so that's actually really awesome. And now we're going to tighten down all the screws. Make sure you tighten the inner ring first before you tighten the outer ring. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten one side of the inner rings first, then the other side, outer rings, and then flip it over. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's start. Alright, that should be about it. And I realized that by putting a finger on the spacer at the side while tightening it really helps to, you know, get a good grip on the spacer so it wouldn't just keep turning around. Because I wasn't able to get the inner ring really tight, probably because the spacer's just spinning around as well. So having my index finger up here really helped to hold it down so that I could tighten it a bit better. And I also realized that now that I have it in this orientation with the V like that, it really keeps the balls in place, but then again they're also kind of loose, so you can actually fidget with the balls as well. So yeah, fidgeting with the balls is always fun, right? So these steel weights actually feel really awesome. Now we're gonna have to install the button. Just gonna get one end, thread it through like so, and we're gonna just use that to push the alignment tool out like that, and then get the other end of the button and tighten it down as well. And when it's done, equal on both ends, you have finished the assembly of the amazing looking Sphidget. Super heavy, feels so good in hand. One thing I gotta say though is that these balls actually spin in its slots. So it gives you an additional, I guess, way of fidgeting with it. It feels cool. It's very interesting because it's spinning around. I like it. And I've been waiting for this. This is going to be the very first spin I will experience on the Sphidget. I know that the bearing has a lot of lube in it, but what the heck, right? Let's just go ahead and give it a good spin. Whoa, that feels good. It's very interesting. So smooth, probably because of all the weights. And oh, okay. You hear that, guys? That's interesting. It's the sound caused by the rattling of the weights as the spinner slows down. So when it's fast, you don't actually get that response. But when it starts to slow down, you get a nice rattling sound made by this. It's so cool. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and try one-handed spin and see how it feels. Not bad. Not bad at all. One-handed spins. It's really heavy though. And I guess I need some practice to get used to this, you know, the way to actually hold it or get a good grip on it. But man, this thing spins. And look at all that circles of light. It's so cool. Love the way it reflects the light. It's awesome. Wow. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is put this guy on my EDC for the next few days and see how it goes, and I'll give you guys a review after the next few days that I've actually fiddled with this guy. But if the add-ons actually come in, I will make sure that I get that in the video for you guys as well. So catch you guys in the next part.
One eternity later.
Alright. Now I've been messing with this bad boy for about a week. And in that time, I actually cleaned the bearings out, so it's spinning a lot smoother right now. But this guy, my first impressions to you is that he's just so huge. It's way too huge for me to pocket, so I've actually left it at my desk at work. So I could just reach over and fidget with this guy whenever. And he's like a beast, you know? That's the first impressions. But you guys are in luck because just earlier today, I received the add-ons that I paid for during the Kickstarter campaign. So these are the extra weights. It's a full set of different type of weights, as well as a tower. So this tower is meant for you to display all the weights on, and it actually arrived all disassembled, but assembly is really easy. You just take a look at it and you know exactly what to do. So this is the tower. It uses the same face plates as what you have over here, but I think that it doesn't have the angled cuts, you know, the angled cuts that I actually featured on the main faceplate itself. These I don't think have any, but it's a very simple construction, very straightforward. It's just there to do its job, to hold the weights. So I'm going to talk really quickly about the weights. We've got acrylic weights, Delrin weights, we've got wood weights. I forgot what wood it was, so when I find out, I put it somewhere on the screen. And we have brass weights. And then of course we have the original stainless steel weights. So right now, my opinion on this guy is he's really hefty. Something that's a little bit too heavy for my liking, but that might completely change once I swap out the weights for something else. Now the reason why I went ahead and I bought this add-on was because I really wanted the acrylic weights. I thought that they looked absolutely awesome, like if I were to have acrylic weights here. So that's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna swap out the weights for the acrylic weights, and we'll see how that feels in hand after that. Alright.
A few moments later.
I'm back, and this is what the acrylic weights look like when they're installed in the Sphidget. And this is the display tower. Weights are all just held in by gravity, you know, there's no like special mechanism holding them in. But the cool thing about it is you can just simply balance your Sphidget on top and it becomes a full-sized tabletop display piece. So that's kind of cool. I've tried on the other weights as well, the lightest being this, followed by Delrin wood, then going to stainless steel and brass of course. But I'm gonna be brutally honest and tell you guys that from the previous segment of the video till this part, it's actually been 2 weeks. And the reason why it's been 2 weeks is because, honestly speaking, the Sphidget isn't something that is for me. I don't particularly like it, and I realize that I don't find myself grabbing it to a fidget with it a lot. Before I speak more in detail about that, let's talk about what the weights actually do to the Sphidget and how they actually affect it. It really, honestly changes the Sphidget's feel almost completely. Like it feels like a completely different spinner. Of course, you still get that fidgetability here in moving the weights around, but This is now super light. It's so light, and because of the sound it makes, and because of the way it feels in your hand, because this actually looks like glass, but when you actually touch it, you know it's acrylic, then it feels really cheap. It feels that, I don't know how do I say this. It just doesn't feel prestigious. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like, you know, a nice spinner to have in your hand. It does feel a lot different when you have the metal weights. For the Delrin and the wood ones, they still feel a bit light. The wood one has a special, you know, texture to it because the wooden weights are raw, I guess. They're just like sanded finish, no lacquer or anything, so you can actually feel the wood grains and everything. But in terms of the way you fidget with it, having the Delrin wood or acrylic weights don't really make much of a difference. The difference comes when you actually use the steel or brass weights. But those then, when you install it, are a little bit too heavy for my liking. Also, I really want to mention that Mike actually included an extra bearing for me. He included a ceramic bearing because he said he wanted to apologize for the delay in shipping that out. And the ceramic bearings really are quite amazing. Just on this super lightweight configuration, I'm getting about 1.5 minutes spins. I haven't really timed the new timing if I were to use steel or brass weights, but I am going to assume safely that it's going to be able to hit about 3 minutes at least. Those are the kind of things that I wanted to share with you first of all. On to my verdict of the Sphidget spinner. First, I'm going to give you guys a size comparison, and you can see the height of the Sphidget is about the same as a Hyperstone, but when you look at the width, if you include the buttons and the weights, it's a lot bigger. Bigger than the Stubby in every single way, in all dimensions and proportions, but it feels so light. This acrylic version feels so light, and then the metal version feels too heavy. So that's one thing that I really dislike about it. Second, after spending these past 2 weeks with it, I will tell you honestly that I didn't fidget with it a lot because this thing is not pocketable at all. Not to me at least. You probably have to put it into a bag or a little pouch. But this, I believe, would work really well as a table spinner or a desk spinner. Now that's kind of making me regret not buying the table stand or the desk stand, because Mike actually has one of those stands where you actually kind of put the Sphidget on this way. And I think that having that would look like a very beautiful display piece or conversational piece, but I don't have that, so it's a bit unfortunate. I did put this at my office table, but I just realized that I wasn't reaching out to grab it so much so as my other spinners. But every time I fidgeted with it, I realized one main thing, and that the corners here or the edges here on the metal frame are really sharp. They are sharper than the Spinetic spinners. There is absolutely no finishing on this guy whatsoever. This was just cut out. I don't know if it was laser cut or water jet cut, but it's just cut, and probably because of the way I had the, you know, the orientation as well was sticking out, so these are really uncomfortable. And I realized that I'm trying to reach for the weight to spin instead, so I'm grabbing it this way at the corner of the weight and then flicking it, because that's my favorite way of flicking spinners now. But for this guy, it's a bit uncomfortable if you want to flick it forwards, because you're not able to rest your finger here unless you get a perfectly, you know, aligned finger placement, which is in between the spacer and the weight itself. Because if you hit it here like that, it's gonna hurt, and it's very little, I guess, real estate for your finger. But then again, if you want to get a good grip, you probably have to have your finger lodged maybe at the back of a weight like that, or maybe on one of those screws over there. That's how you get it, but it doesn't feel so good, especially when you're stopping it this way with your finger. And if it's a heavier weight, I'm pretty sure that this edge might bite into your finger, possibly even cut and make you bleed. That's just the possibility. I don't know for sure. Yeah. The next thing I'm gonna say is that this particular stem, or that threaded rod that goes through to, you know, have the buttons on, I don't quite like it because it protrudes. No matter how you install it, it's gonna protrude on one side. And if you try your very best to center it, I've been trying my best, honestly, you don't get a perfectly flush result on both sides. You always have to get only one side that's flush and one side with a little bit of a raise. I'm trying to see. See, it's a hair's width, guys, but you can see that little raised portion over there. Yeah, so this one doesn't really have it. So you have to have the right orientation if you want to get a stable placement on the table so that you can table spin it. Like if you were to spin it on the part that is raised by accident, you'll find it wobbling here and there. Like you can hear the sound is totally different. So that's also something that could be worked on. But all in all, the Sphidget is something that is very interesting, very unique, just really not for me. I'm not finding it too comfortable, and to me, it doesn't really weigh in high on the fidgetability scale. In fact, it's a bit lower to me. I would like to, I guess, say that I think it'll be a very awesome desk toy. So if you had a stand and everything, then it'll be very awesome. The next thing I will say is I regret, because of this setup right now, I regret not buying the add-ons for the buttons. Those are full-size brass buttons, I believe. Unfortunately, the buttons are too expensive. They are like about, what, 50 USD for a button set? But it does come with a conversion to a spinning top, you know, so you can make the Sphidget a spinning top. So it's a spinning top attachment. Unfortunately, it's still $50 and I don't think it's worth that amount of money, even if it's made of brass and even if it's buttons, because, you know, this is just a rod threaded through. Those are my thoughts on the Sphidget, guys. What do you guys think? I know it looks beautiful, especially this configuration really makes it pop to me. It's like one of the most unique looking spinners you probably can ever find out there. I mentioned before that I got the add-ons for this weights just because I really wanted the acrylic weights in this, and it looks mesmerizing. I mean, just look at that. See how, you know, see how it looks like whenever you have a different colored background and how it blends in and stuff. I really love that. And the way it looks, almost like a crystal ball, I guess. Like, it's just mesmerizing to me, the way it reflects light and the way it shows through the acrylic weights. That's something that is a pull factor to me. But I don't think this is a spinner for everyone, honestly. It's a bit too big. But if you guys like big size spinners, if you want something really hefty, this might probably be the heaviest spinner in the market because of the steel and the brass weights. So if you're the kind of person that likes a big size, very heavy spinner with multiple ways of fidgeting, including fidgeting the weights itself, the Sphidget is for you. If you like something that is customizable, you know, changeable plate colors, changeable stem colors or spacer colors, changeable weights and different types of colors and finishes and materials, changeable buttons as well, changeable bearings as well, Sphidget is for you. I'm not sure if there are any on sale on Mike's website. I will put a link in the video description and I hope that you guys go check it out. If there is, cool. If there isn't, I'm sorry, because I got this on Kickstarter as I mentioned, and I'm trying to recall exactly how much I paid for this Sphidget as well as that particular tower add-on. I can't seem to remember it right now, so I'll put the value on the screen somewhere. Hope that actually helps you guys out. That's about it, guys. This is the review of the Sphidget spinner. Once again, I'm going to give a big shout out to SpinSpace. Put the link in the video description for their Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel for SpinSpace. Go check it out. I'm pretty sure you'll find some solid reviews and a lot of information both on the YouTube channel in terms of the videos as well as being on the Facebook page. That's all, guys. I don't really have much else to say about this guy except it's not really the spinner for me. Yep. Bye.